Good morning, Nigeria, Africa, and the rest of the world, and welcome to Idea Morning Digest here on Idea TV, your trusted space for informed conversations that shapes the world, or our world. I should put it that way. Okay, today is the 23rd. I will not forget because I know that if you had a kid, you would have heard it.
I was monitoring that this morning.
Yes, today is the 23rd of February 2026. We're almost out of February and almost entering March, and
almost out of my month.
Yes. This is your pet month, but a lot has been happening. A lot has happened. A lot is still going to happen. We've seen a lot of things happen in March, but then this is the program where you get beyond the headlines, beyond all the issues that matters to us, from public policy, governance to science, technology, health, business, entrepreneurship, and innovations, all of which are drivers of development around the world. You like what we do here? Science, tech, send in your ideas, send in your comments, send in your opinions to us at Idea Television. That's on all social media platforms, and of course via email at Idea TV Limited. My name is Cynthia Basi. Yes, and I have here Adewale. Good morning.
Adewale,
yes.
Good morning. It's good to have you. You're looking radiant, I should say.
Oh wow, thank you.
I love your shirt.
Thank you. I don't know how to handle compliments.
Just take it.
Okay.
Take it.
I'll take it.
Work like your clock.
Okay. Okay, let's see the headlines we have for today. First off, you'll be seeing that Tinubu orders direct remittance of oil revenues. Agency raised funding concerns, and also SEYI law defends President Tinubu and sparks debate over economic claims. And student files 15 million naira lawsuit over forced rape allegation. And lastly, you'll be seeing that the United States, Canada issue Mexico travel warnings after cartel leader killed. But before that, let's go on the short break and we'll be back.
Hi, welcome to Idea TV, the first innovation television. At Idea TV, we bring you cutting-edge stories, insights, and shows that redefine innovation across Africa and beyond. Get ready to upgrade your mind. Idea TV is your go-to destination for the latest trending news, cutting-edge tech, and innovative ideas that shape our future. From technology and innovations, business, health, education, and agriculture, climate solutions, science, and research. Stay ahead of the curve with us at Idea Television.
(5G) technology. 5G technology promises to be a game changer by delivering ultra-fast internet speeds, low latency, and the ability to connect millions of devices seamlessly. It's going to fuel the future.
Signed a new executive order directing that all oil and gas revenues be paid directly into the Federation account for distribution to federal, state, and local governments. The directive, signed on the 13th of February, requires immediate compliance and ends the long-standing practice of some agencies retaining portions of internally generated revenue to fund their operations. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited say the move could strain their finances and affect operations. Officials argued that removing statutory funding mechanisms established under the Petroleum Industry Act may weaken regulatory independence, disrupt production sharing contract oversight, and create uncertainty around loan repayments and investor confidence. Oil workers' unions have called for urgent consultations, warning of tension across the sector. However, petroleum marketers have welcomed the order, describing it as a bold step towards greater transparency and fiscal discipline. The federal government insists the policy strengthens constitutional provisions requiring all federation revenues to be centrally remitted, and says agencies will now be funded through the national budget process as implementation begins. Okay, I think that is okay, I think that's what we have there. I sent this announcement by the president, Wale. I don't know what to think about it. I think it's just the scale of the ambition, because 5%, first of all, GDP of our GDP is not pocket change, and I'll just say Nigeria's GDP is in the range of hundreds of billions of dollars, if I'm not mistaken. And even if we convert that, and we say we want to be conservative about converting it, we're still talking about tens of trillions of, naira being directed towards this industry, and that is a serious policy direction. But at first thought, this will only matter if the money is disciplined, if there is caution, and if it is, should I say, targeted, because we have seen industrial policies before as such, and we have seen interventions funds before. This is not like the first time. But the question is not whether we can announce the 3 trillion naira for bank industry, or I just feel like we should rethink it. And what comes to my mind here, which I think is the right question to ask, is if we, with that money, reach the manufacturers who are struggling to, who are struggling with power costs, who have been struggling with logistics issue, who have been, struggling with import independence and all of those things. These are the questions we should be asking when a policy like this rolls out, or before a policy like this even rolls out. Because manufacturing in Nigeria contributes a lot of, if I'm not mistaken, 8 to 10% to the GDP. So I just feel like the target of 20 to 25%, like the president have said, by 2030 is very, very ambitious. And but countries that have achieved, if we look at the scale of this, we see that countries that have achieved this kind of scale, this kind of jump, like some Asian countries, like mostly Asian economies, most of them did not just stand up and roll out policies. They have done so with consistent policy. They have done so with stable electricity supply. They have done so with strict export discipline. I mean, they have done so with strategic measures. So if we're still battling with our 10 to 12 hours a day light, if some people are even getting up to that, before you know, there's power outage. It's either the grid is falling, or this area is saying we have in the morning, or this one do not have in the morning. If we have to still battle with all of these power outages daily in our industrial clusters, because most of our industries rely on fuel, rely on diesel to power their companies or their manufacturing industries. So funding alone, I think, will not solve the problem here. What's the credit guarantees for? I just feel like if I want to look at it on another from another angle, I'll just say what's the credit guarantees here for small businesses interesting, because many SMEs die not because of they lack the ideas. Okay, please, Wale.
Well, indeed, still focusing on the issue of this oil allocation and for the directive from the president on how to revenue sharing and what the regulatory agencies can keep and what the petroleum industry can keep as well. I think it's important because, like you said, we have the federal government has a target on what they want the economy to look like in the coming years, Vision 2030. And all of the challenges that we face in that regard that you've mentioned are the things that we need to solve before that time. So I think this directive is coming at the right time, that we want to mop up all loopholes that are currencies, that are revenue, that are money generated in the country, especially in the petroleum industries, is being stolen or looted by different agencies, or there are different people who are responsible to manage that money. And as we have seen as well, that the upstream petroleum regulatory commission has also mentioned that they are having concerns about how this new regulation is going to affect them, how it's going to also erode investors' confidence when it comes to investing in the petroleum industry in Nigeria. But the federal government has made sure, I think from the Tinubu's administration, from the previous Buhari's administration, they've started to ensure that there's going to be a single account where all revenue is going to go to. And there's President Tinubu is also making that further bold step to say that there's not going to be any money left behind for you to manage your activities or the things that you want to do, or to pay the people that you need to pay. You need to focus more on the budget that is going to come into your own industry or your own sector. So the budget has to be, you have to rely on the budget, not more on the money that you are keeping behind for yourself. And I think that's important, because when we look at the money that is being shared today, more is going to the state government, more is now going to the local government, as we've seen the election that happened here in Abuja in the last couple of days, that we've seen that a lot of people are beginning to have more interest in the local government councils and for Abuja, and the local government administrations for states in Nigeria. So that's quite important, that we need to begin to see who are the people that we're putting into the position of power, and unelected officials like those in the petroleum sector are not scatting away with our money by regulatory issues that they feel that should not be taken away. They mentioned things about the Petroleum Industry Act that would be weakened, because it gave them the leeway to retain this money in their own coffers to sort out all the bills that they need to do. But the government, just to wrap it up, is saying that focus more on the budget that's going to be coming to you, for us to meet all of the goals that you've highlighted, that you've mentioned, that the federal government want to achieve in the next coming months. This has to be done right. All loopholes that are national resources are being looted away, needs to be covered, and this is one of them. And the president being one of the key figures when it comes to the petroleum sector in Nigeria, he has a responsibility, and petroleum as well being Nigeria's key resource generating revenue means for the country, it has to be looked into holistically, and things as this must also be well taken care of.
I think this. Sorry, I misplaced the news.
Yes.
I think first of all, the question of around remittances and subsidy, accounting for, I think it has dominated public debate for a while. And what the president is coming out to do here, honestly, I think it is very good, because this is more like he's saying that there is no more. There should be no more side accounts. There should be no more. Should I say? How should I put it? Internal retention of without a central oversight. So it's more like he's trying to centralize everything, and I think this is going to strengthen transparency, because this for a long time where these monies have been going to have begged for the question of accountability, and this I see that is bringing that accountability into the picture, because we now get to see that all the monies are going to are being channeled into one stream, into one account rather, and Nigeria's oil sector, should I say, have even struggled with opacity for a very long time. Like I said, begging for those questions of remittances, going back to even subsidy. How have we been? Because whether we like it or not, subsidizing, removing subsidy that the president brought when he entered into power is not completely bad. I know we have so many concerns around it, because is Nigeria economy strong enough to handle that? But according to him, this is something that has been thought out, well planned. So I just feel like if we can account for where the monies are going into, then that question of subsidy, removing subsidy is not working for us. Maybe to an extent we will not have to talk about it. The public debate will to an extent tone down. So I think centralizing the revenue sounds very clean to me. Sounds very, I think it's a wonderful initiative, and very constitutional here, if I want to be honest. But let's not dwell on this completely. Let's see what the next story have for us. Okay, comedian Sheilo has publicly defended President Bola Tinubu, saying Nigeria is safe, or is safer and economically stronger under his leadership. Speaking yesterday, February 22, during a podcast hosted by Daddy Freeze, Law cited figures he said show inflation has fallen to 15%, with gross domestic product growth projected between 4 and 5%. He also accused former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi of copying the president's policies, and referred and referred to alleged killings during Obi's time in office, claims Obi has previously denied. And the remarks have drawn mixed reactions. Supporters describe Law's comment as bold, while critics argue that many Nigerians continue to face insecurity and economic hardship and ongoing reforms. Like I always say, what Nigerians know is what they are facing. You know, if most of these reforms are not manifested in real life, in real time, then it only means that it's not working for the people. So when a public figure, first of all, like SEYI Law, steps into political defense, and I know he has been, even when the president was campaigning, as at the time before he entered power, I know he has been dragged, him and some other celebrities. But I just feel like when SEYI Law is coming into political defense, it becomes more than an entertainment commentary. It's a national discourse now at this point in time, because the claim that inflation has dropped 15% is where I want us to, including him, pause and look at it very well. Nigeria's recent inflation figures have been significantly higher, well above, if I'm not mistaken, 20% in recent official reports, the last I checked. So when numbers are thrown into public conversations like this, 15%, this percent, especially on a platform like a podcast hosted by a very popular podcast, you need to come out with accurate information. If not, you end up misinforming people, and it's going to put everybody into trouble. We are going to risk confusing the public, and we don't want that. And the broader issue here is how celebrities shape political perception. That's where I'm even going to, because what SEYI Law is saying, that's on another side. That's why I always call for civic education. Let everybody know how to check things for themselves, not to rely on some certain information. I know to an extent you have to rely, but you have to know the right sources to get information from. But then in Nigeria, I've just seen that, I think I've noticed that the surge in how entertainers' influence have risen, you know. When they speak, a lot of people will want to listen. So they need to be careful with what they are saying. So coming out to defend the government should come with facts, should come with facts and actual figures, you know, that's out there. Not just it's not that you just come out and, you know, say what you like because you are trying to support a move, or you want to make the podcast interesting. I don't know why. It's all vibes, and how do they ever say it again? Inshallah, on the podcast you're just trying to push. But I think it's okay. I don't know what agenda he's trying to push, because it's more like he's pushing an agenda. It's obvious that he's pushing an agenda, but it is okay to support a president. It is okay to push an agenda, but it is okay to also criticize whatever you like. But it is not helpful. What is not helpful here is selective data, just because you want to push an agenda. So that's where the problem lies for me. And the reference to another running candidate, I think we know that, like I've said before, I've included Peter Obi as a polarizing figure as well. But every policy debate, you know, when you are trying to compare personalities, I know that every policy debate or political debate must it will turn into a personality debate somehow. But we just need to be careful. We just need to be careful, especially celebrities. They need to influencers. They need to be careful what they put out there. Meanwhile, average Nigerians are not interested in some of this stuff. We are just asking the question: is food cheaper? Can you go to the market and afford rice? Is fuel prices stable? Because if you want to talk, people will say, oh, it's a little down now, it's a little on the lower side now. Is it stable? Will it remain like this for the next coming years? So those are the questions people are asking. Are jobs available for people? So from my perspective, I just think public defenders of government must be prepared for scrutiny. And if you are coming out to push an agenda, you must come with facts. You must come with correct facts, because you cannot tell people things are better when they are seeing another thing. They are seeing otherwise. So the numbers must align with reality.
Indeed. Well, opinions such as this and conversations such as this is very usual when it comes to the time leading to the election seasons in Nigeria. And we've seen a lot of people on the backdrop of the recent law that has been passed by the National Assembly and also by ascended by also the president of Nigeria. A lot of people have had conversations about the coming general elections next year. So you see a lot of proxies such as these would pit their tent against or with a candidate, and we've seen that Sheilo has been a fervent supporter of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu since his last electoral campaign that brought him into power. But one must criticize and one must wonder what these people are gaining from their supports, throwing their wing into this administration. Anybody can support any government. You have the will, the rights, the constitutional authority to support, vote, and also campaign for a candidate of your choice. But going on a platform to speak about numbers, to talk about the inflation, and also to criticize other political parties, I think it's a bit too far. When we look at the character of the person who is speaking, he's somebody who has never allowed for a voice of dissent when it comes to criticizing this administration. He has doubted the policies of the administration, mentioned that the fuel subsidy removal is good for the people, and he's also continuing to campaign to talk about the reforms that the government is doing, to talk about the gains that the government has also achieved in the last 3 years or so that they've been in government. So we will continue to see arguments such as this, and we'll continue to see people from other political parties as well to come to debates, to forums, to news programs like ours, to support their candidate or to speak against the other candidates. But I think you've mentioned mentioned as well that they must come with the critical facts. They must come with also the data to show that whatever it is that they are mentioning does not is not contrary to what is actually being experienced by most Nigerians. And when we look at the inflation in the country, it's still around the 2 digits level. We also look at the purchasing power capacity for most Nigerians. It has drastically reduced. It was here last week that we talked about the buy now, pay later scheme that most Nigerians are trying to key into right now. That shows something about our viability when it comes to the economic power for most Nigerians in the country. So here we'll continue to support us. Most Nigerians will continue to do it. But at the end of the day, we see that as with the elections that was conducted in Abuja, what matters the most is the election day and the votes that will count. But that's for that. We'll move on to the next story.
Okay, so a university student has filed a 15 million naira lawsuit against a female classmate over what he describes as a false rape allegation. The suit follows public accusations made online where she allegedly shared his phone number in group chats and labeled him a rape apologist in connection with the so-called Mirabel issue. The accused student, David, denies the claim. The university says it conducted an investigation and found no evidence to support the allegation. In a video posted afterwards, the accuser, Adewale Adiola Adeife, admitted she had no proof and acted in the heat of the moment. David's lawyers have rejected the apology, describing it as inadequate. They are demanding a full public retraction, removal of related posts and payment of 15 million naira for emotional distress and alleged lost opportunities within 14 days. The case has reignited debate about balancing protection for victims of sexual assault with the consequences of unproven claims. First thing that came to my mind is where she will get the money to pay. But I think this is a very sensitive story, given that we are trying to solve the Mirabel's case. And I think it deserves careful thought, because when someone makes an allegation of sexual assault, it must be taken seriously. Whether the person come out and say it's how do they call it, a fracas, or how should I put it, comes out to debunk it or deny that, okay, I just acted out of impulse or out of in the heat of the moment, or but I just think and another thing we must understand is that false reporting is sorry, I've lost my train of thought. I think false reporting is, should I say, how should I put it, statistically, globally very low. Yes, it's very low because most times it's often cited as a single how do they put it, digit percentages, because it's not on the, it's relatively low, it's not on the high side, because, and that is very important too for context, because genuine victims already struggle to be believed, and then here we are battling with people who are coming out today to say they are being raped, and then tomorrow go online, people are making a fun of the situation. You see this one comes out, it's now a content, is now a theme for, should I say a theme for content now. You see people making different videos online. I was raped, oh give me money, oh give me water, and people will start laughing. But it's not something to laugh about, because that is because of all of these false allegations, you know, false claims here and there. But when an allegation is publicly admitted to have no evidence, as in the case of this David and what's her name, Adiola Adeife, it creates a different issue. This is more like a reputational damage in the digital age, because once a phone number is shared online, she shared his phone number online with a labeled attachment. I think the internet will not forget easily. Tomorrow, because whether we like it or not, with this story, there are some people that, there are two sides now. There are some people that will still stand and say something must have happened in the past that made her to, you know, put out such claims, but maybe she do not have the right evidence to you know, back it up. And then there are some people that will still come out and say, oh, she has said she just acted out of impulse, or you know, in the heat of the situation and whatnot. So I think first of all, 15 million, let me go back to that money. 15 million naira is not just a it's not small money, it's not a random number for a university student. Well, I think for a student, this is, I think that's a life-changing sum. If you're what David, I'm beginning to suspect you here, but it only signals that reputational harm. I think he wants to show her how serious he takes his reputation, how serious he takes his identity, because she has spread his number, you know, with a tag that he is a rapist. And whether we like it or not, you know how people joke around things. That's his new name in school. Anything he does, you are going to hear, I beg, keep quiet, you this rapist. So I think for him to come out and put this kind of money, it only signals that I'm serious about my reputation. You have scattered my reputation, I want to regain it. If I don't put a serious number to this, then it is going to, but we know that this money is money is not going to quantify the harm she has done to an extent. But I think putting that sum self is I think it's good to an extent. But the balance here is very delicate. Here, it's very, very delicate. We must protect victims of sexual violence. At the same time, we also must discourage all of these reckless public showcases and accusations and whatnot that have been carrying on for a while now without evidence, because it only shows that our universities as well need strong guidance. We need strong confidential investigation processes. We need to follow up with students' activities in school seriously, and also social media, all of these trial and justice in social media, judges and jury on social media. It's also creating some kind of problem. So we should learn how to use social media responsibly. Before you go out and make some sort of allegations, you must come. That's the same thing we are saying with the SEYI case, Sheila's case. You must come out with strong facts, come out with strong figures, you know, strong backings before you start making any claims and allegations. But I think this case will likely become a reference point in conversations about accountability and about all these false claims, and it may make institutions to an extent kind of rethink you know, how quickly they respond to some of these viral allegations. But let them deal with this. Let the school, let the police, let the court deal with this case as it should be.
Indeed. Well, you've spoken extensively about the case. First of all, what I'd like to say is that a rape allegation, a rape case is not something to toy with. And we've seen that social media, time and again, has not been a good judgment of that, of whether or not to convict somebody. But I think there's this perception that is seen on social media that whoever has come out to declare that they have been raped must be protected, must be, which is true. They must be protected, they must be given the opportunity to air their opinion, to air their grievances, to air their issues with the relevant authority. And the court of public opinion will be at that center to look at the case, how it is going, and make judgment. And this is what we've seen for this young lady who has made a judgment of a case on social media and has accused a classmate of being a rape apologist because of his differing opinion that he had about the case. But now we've seen that the case has been also taken to handled by the police agency. They've also preliminary report is showing that this lady Mirabel is actually lying. There's no truth or fact to the rape case that she mentioned, and she's also come out to say that she had a lot of mental issues that she's dealing with and the likes. But back to these two people who have involved themselves in another person's case and have decided to throw banter. This is an example of whatever happens online, let it happen online. Because when you bring online cases and you fight people individually because of an opinion that is going online, you don't know how true it is. You don't know the validity of the information. You don't know how sensitive it might be for other people. So for this young man who has decided that he's going to pursue this case legally against a woman who has accused him of being a rape apologist, I think he has to pursue it in the court of law because he has to clear his name. A mere going on social media to saying that, oh, I was actually wrong, I didn't have all the facts together. You should think about that before you call somebody a rape apologist, because that is a label that will go with them for the rest of their life or for the foreseeable future, and affect how they behave in the society, how the society also responds to them, because that label will be seen hanging above their head that this is a rape apologist. When people say that they are rape, you consider it a lie or what have you. And I think this brings a conversation about how we regulate social media, how we regulate, not even from the government alone, our individual use of social media, how we respond to things and how we relate to people in the real world outside of the social media space. Because it really affects our human connection and relationship, which has been a problem here. But I believe that the school should also intervene to see what can be done, but this is within the purview of the law, that the law has to take its course, because I believe a case has been filed in court by the lawyer. So if this guy can be convinced or confused to appeal for him to drop it, to bring the money down to settle for an out-of-court settlement. But the young man has to be compensated, whether through money or through other means, to show also the lady must be remorseful to also show that when you don't have facts right, you don't go around accusing people. And because you're just somewhere on social media doesn't mean you cannot be found and you cannot be prosecuted. But we need to continue to have this conversation to ensure that young people on social media understand the limits of this platform and what you can see, how you can see it, where you can see it, and the proof and the facts that you need to put together before you can actually make those assertions. But that's as much as we can take on the headlines this morning. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll go to the topic of the conversation. Stay with us.
Blockchain technology. Blockchain is most commonly associated with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, but its potential goes far beyond that. Blockchain offers a decentralized, secure, and transparent way to record transactions, which is being applied in industries like finance, supply chain management, and healthcare. For instance, blockchain can verify the origin of products and supply chains or ensure the integrity of medical records. But blockchain still faces hurdles. Its energy consumption and scalability are major issues. By 2025, the blockchain market is expected to grow to $39.7 billion, but widespread adoption will depend on overcoming these challenges. Augmented Connected Workforce. The Augmented Connected Workforce leverages remote collaboration tools, AI insights, and wearable devices to enhance productivity. This trend is especially relevant in the era of hybrid work models where teams need to collaborate from different locations. Tools like Zoom and Microsoft Teams have become essential for communication, while wearable tech monitors worker health and safety. However, companies must balance employee privacy with performance tracking to avoid ethical concerns. The workforce management tools market is forecasted to grow to $9.3 billion by 2026. There you have it, the 20 game-changing technology trends shaping the future
They
as
talk
we
and fast,
speak.
fast.
You know, they talk.
Continuous Threat Exposure Countermeasure, CTEM. CTEM tools enable organizations to continuously monitor and address vulnerabilities in real time. This proactive approach helps businesses stay ahead of cyber threats and comply with security standards. While CTEM systems are improving cybersecurity, managing them can be resource intensive. Sectors like finance, healthcare, and government are adopting these tools to protect sensitive data. Democratize generative AI. Generative AI, which creates new content like text, images, or music, is becoming more accessible. This trend is enabling businesses and individuals to leverage.
Welcome back. You're still on Idea Morning Digest on Idea Television. I'm Adewale Alajupo. And now we move on to the discussion segment where a recent statement by the chief executive of Optiva Capital has reignited debate around global mobility, capital flight, and Nigeria's long-term economic prospects. Speaking in Lagos, the firm's boss argued that growing demand for residency and second citizenship among Nigerians is not an attempt to drain the nation's resources, but to assess global opportunities in business, healthcare, and education. He maintained that remittances, overseas investments, and diaspora engagement continue to strengthen and not weaken Nigeria's economic base. But is global mobility truly capital expansion as claimed? Or does it deepen concerns around brain drain and systemic weakness at home? This morning, we're examining the broader implications, what this trend means for families, policymakers, and Nigeria's competitiveness in a global economy. Welcome to the program. This position put forward by this individual concerning the issue of global mobility, and I think he couched it in a beautiful English. I would say Jackma when it comes to leaving the country. He has mentioned that this is not something to be too worried about as a nation, where we have all the capacity and all the human resources to solve our own problem, and we should actually not encourage in some ways, but actually allow for this seamless integration or movement from people, migration from one country to another, because the search for a second citizen for any human, firstly, is about their own personal growth, their development, and what they can do for themselves as humans. And we've looked at the economic situation in Nigeria to say that most reasons why Nigerians leave the country is to look for the greener pasture, to look for other better opportunities for them where they can make more money to solve their own problem and to solve the problems of their dependents and their family as necessary. And from this information that we exposed in this morning, we see that there's a position here that says that actually Nigeria can benefit and countries also benefit from their citizens moving abroad to other countries, let alone focusing on the issue around the brain drain, issue around migration, issue around taking away Nigeria's resources, the best hands that we have that can actually make good impact on the country, leaving the country and going to other country to support their own industrial, economic, and other areas of growth and development for them. But we've seen that this is the issue. This is undeniable. We've looked at different sectors in the country, such as the health sector, the economic sector, the commerce. We've looked at even the education sector. We're seeing more and more Nigerians leave the country to look for opportunities abroad where they can earn better wages to be able to sustain their life. But this position has also shed light on another aspect of this migration that is often left behind, and that is the issue of the importance of the diaspora when it comes to the Nigerian economy. Countries like India have seen a huge turnaround or a huge remittance back into their own country. And this has also fueled their own industrial revolution. It has fueled their own economic growth as well. We've seen countries like the United States, which has been levying a lot of tariffs on countries around the world, and it's even making countries less competitive when it comes to economic trade between the United States and even some other countries who might want to protect their own economy. But he's bringing a position that when you have your citizens abroad, they can also contribute back to the economy at home through remittances back to the country. And we've seen agencies like NIDCOM, the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, led by Abika Dabiri who has also been forthright and helpful in ensuring that the diaspora community that we have abroad in all other countries are contributing to the economic development of Nigeria. It's not only for them to be talking about how they can go and rescue them when issues arises or when need arises for them to be rescued and to come back to Nigeria, but they can also contribute to economic development. Recently, NIDCOM has been able to secure collaboration with a group of doctors who are coming to Nigeria to also do some medical practice and medical checkup for Nigerians, and also support them in getting their surgery and the likes done. So we see that the diaspora has a huge responsibility or a huge potential as well to contribute to Nigeria's economy when it comes to the real estate sector. We see a huge boom in that industry, from remittances, from international representation from our diaspora. They are investing in the real estate, they are buying lands, they are building companies, they are sending school fees for people back at home. They are doing a lot of things to make sure that there's a huge inflow of the dollar into the Nigerian economy, and that also helps us to stabilize our naira, and also to strengthen our currency, because when we get enough dollar into the economy, when we're able to trade, we're able to bring in more funds into the country, it helps to stabilize the currency, it helps the economy as well to grow faster. And we've seen a lot of intervention being done by the federal government to ensure that we target actually this diaspora that we have, diaspora community in the US, in the UK, or some other developed countries, to see what they can actually do to contribute to this national development that we have at home. Because they've left the country doesn't mean that they cannot also contribute to it. And even people in the diaspora are contributing to a lot of conversations that are happening in the country. Issue about the election, issue about the economy, issue about the human rights abuses that some part of the country facing, and also issue about insecurity. They've been able to be they are at the forefront of leading a lot of conversations when it comes to international bodies, when it comes to the US Congress, when it comes to other relevant international institutions who are helping us to fast track conversation that our government might want to shut down or not pay attention to. So the diaspora has a huge potential to contribute to Nigeria's growth, and I think this is a solid submission.
Okay, let me start here, because for me it's two ways. Because there are so many ifs, there are so many buts, there are so many questions surrounding this. Because first of all, this is a very predictable human behavior. If here is not working for me, let me find where is working or where we work for me. So I think we need to just be honest with ourselves, because when a Nigerian moves money by themselves abroad, sometimes people think it's fair. In some cases, people will think it's a strategic move. But I think it's both. Sometimes it's fear that there's no return on investment here. Sometimes it's I want to be strategic, because of foreign exchange is never stable. So you never know what you can get. I laughed because I saw something online. I think dollar came down to 1,300,
yes.
And then people were like, after we don't keep our dollar, like people have been saving dollars. They don't spend their dollar currency. They have been saving it. So when it gets higher again, they can now go and change it. So they are like, oh. So we that bought, because some of them are saying we that bought dollar for 1,400, 700, not even 400. Some of them bought it for, as at when it was even already 1,700. So they were thinking it's going to climb up. Some bought it for 1,400, so 450, and they were thinking it was going to climb up so they can, get better returns from that, but it didn't work that way. So I think because of most of this uncertainty is why some people, I'm not saying for sure, that's why I say some people it can be fear, for some people it's a strategic move for them. But I think from my perspective, structured migration, especially through investment visas or visa programs, all of those, how do they even call those? Is it residency programs? Can be a very rational economic decision, because if you're a business owner in Lagos, for example, that's why I brought about this foreign exchange dollar to naira whatnot. If you're a business owner now, let's say in Lagos, let me not use Abuja, let's say in Lagos, and you're dealing with foreign exchange volatility, because we know how it is in Nigeria. Inflation, we know currently the inflation stands at 20%. And then you are we're also dealing with policy uncertainty. So there's either we are taking this strategy or not towards ensuring that foreign exchange is stable. Tomorrow we are taking this other, policy strategy. I think it's not strange to want to access a stable banking system somewhere else abroad, in the UK, in Canada. These are the places Nigerians usually go to, in the UK, in Canada, and all these other places. It's not wrong for you to want to go and explore and see what those climes have for you. So I don't see it as, I think it's, I'm taking it from a risk management point of view. I think it's risk management if you want to see what other climes hold for you, especially when it comes to investment. So I think it's risk management, and it's okay. But where it gets really uncomfortable for me, this time is not my unpopular opinion, but it should be uncomfortable. It's something we all should rethink, because when we have a very significant number of significant capital consistently leaving our country's economy, given the fact that Nigeria has a developing economy. That's where the problem lies in for me, because it reduces the fund available for our local investment. So I'm just thinking, this can be good, it can be bad, but for a developing country like Nigeria with unstable economy, with people struggling here and there, with poverty disturbing us here and there, I think Nigeria already struggles with low domestic savings relative to GDP. We saw it on the other news. And so when I just feel like when wealthy people are packing their money and they are going to invest it somewhere, it's a problem. It's something very worrying. It's something that should worry us. It's a problem. They are going to, just because you want to get some sort of security or build a stable, which is good, because, like I said, starting, this is a very predictable human behavior. If something is not working for you, you want to find where it will work for you. So, I think if you carry your money now to another country because this place is not working for you, the how do they call it? Money will no longer circulate in this country anymore. So anyhow we want to look at it, that it does this, it brings money back to the country, but not in a country where investment opportunities are uncertain. Investors, one thing we must understand is that investors can manage risk. In short, it's a welcome thing when it comes to investment. Risk is part of the game. But what investors cannot manage is uncertainty. And that is Nigeria's economy for you. So we are talking about, because we need this money to build projects, we need this money to build roads, we need this money to build factories, we need this money to, fund startups and, even deepen our local credit markets and all of those things. But these monies now are leaving the country. Capital is leaving the country. So I don't see, I do not see it as a black or white situation here. I just feel that it can be strategic capital expansion for individual, why it will still leave Nigeria as a country in that structural economy, structural challenge we are battling with, we have been battling with. If we said this is the way, I think it's going to leave us with so many questions, because can Nigeria even create systems where investment feels safe for a large share of their capital here? That's what I'm even asking myself. So until we ask ourselves all of these questions, I think people will hedge, people will go, and hedging is not unpatriotic. We should know that, but it is not advisable for us at this point in time. You spoke about remittances, which is another thing, because when I want to talk about remittances, because this is where the conversation gets really, should I say, nuanced for me, because Nigeria consistently ranks among the top remittance receiving countries in Africa. So we have seen in recent years that most of our diaspora remittances have reached billions of dollars. But what is it helping us do in the country? Most times what Nigerians are always asking, what Nigerian citizens are always asking for is, they want to see people in Nigeria. We believe seeing is believing for us here. We want to see where all of these monies are going into. So if we want to put that into context, all of these figures that we have been getting from diaspora remittances, we see that these figures are at times being higher than foreign direct investment inflows. We are not seeing that direct investment inflow. So from abroad down to home, but I just want us to look at it very well, because most remittances, they have to support consumption, like school fees, some of them support rent, some of them support all of those family upkeep. That is what most remittances goes back to. If a Nigerian is sending money back to the country, I'm sending it to my family member to build my house, complete my house for me. They are not sending it. I'm not really seeing a way it is contributing to national GDP. I've not seen that way. So I think it is important. It is just we are just stabilizing our household, because the country has left us in that position that we just want to be stable. We just want to be okay individually.
Indeed, we'll go on a quick break now. When we return, we bring a senior analyst who is going to be looking at this. We bring a senior analyst who is going to be looking at this conversation and giving us his own expert opinion. Stay with us.
Democratize generative AI. Generative AI, which creates new content like text, images, or music, is becoming more accessible. This trend is enabling businesses and individuals to leverage powerful AI tools without needing deep technical expertise. Tools like DALL-E are already transforming marketing, entertainment, and design. However, as generative AI becomes democratized, concerns about copyright infringement and misuse of content are rising. Human augmentation. Human augmentation is enhancing human abilities through exoskeletons, wearable technology, and brain-computer interfaces. For instance, exoskeletons are helping individuals with mobility challenges walk again, while brain-computer interfaces allow users to control devices with their thoughts. However, concerns around accessibility and privacy remain. The market for human augmentation is expected to grow to $298.5 billion by 2027, driven by demand in healthcare, defense, and personal productivity tools.
Welcome back. You're still on Idea Morning Digest on Idea Television, and now we move on to what's trending. In a viral video circulating on social media, officers from the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency are seen meticulously searching a woman at a border checkpoint, uncovering a shocking concealment of packed thousands of tramadol capsules in a fake pregnancy bomb made from a pink calabash strapped to her abdomen. The incident unfolded at the semi-land border between Nigeria and Benin Republic, according to NDLEA spokesperson Femi Babafemi. The suspect, 35-year-old Rabi Mohammed from Kano State, was intercepted while attempting to cross into Cotonou to sell the illicit cargo. This is a wonderful development from the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and we've seen that it's not only the airport that needs to be secured. Our land border is more porous than the airport in the country, and people like this who seem to, because I'm wondering what exactly does she want to achieve by concealing that. There are always different technological gadgets that will use to screen you before you're allowed to move between borders, even with the free movements that we have within the ECOWAS region. And we've seen the inflow of tramadol, the inflow of hard substance into Nigeria, and now we're seeing people even trafficking it from Nigeria to other countries like this woman has done. And I hope that she would serve, because a number of cases have been reported in the last couple of months, and I hope that this woman's case will serve as a warning to other people, and I hope that she's also going to be prosecuted, and the news that would follow this case should not drop at the court alone, should follow her through the consequence, the things that are going to happen to her, the court case, and the judgment from the court should also be broadcasted. We should follow accordingly so that we would dissuade other people who are interested in going into these nefarious activities. Drug is a problem in Nigeria. There's a pandemic of it, and people like this are fueling it in the country, and we must continue to ensure that they do not succeed.
First of all, I'm just looking at how innovative most of these traffickers are constantly becoming, because this is very bold. This is very bold. I think they are innovating every day just so that they can beat the system. But first of all, I must commend the NDLEA officers at the Seme border. They did a meticulous job here, because without that kind of scrutiny, without that kind of thorough check, this would have, she would have gone through with it. And what 3,200 capsules. I mean, the numbers is just very shocking to me, because it's a significant amount. It's not just for a street level distribution. This is a serious, bigger, organized operation we are seeing here, and it raises questions about enforcement and broader security. If someone can think of taking up fake pregnancy so that they can maneuver or smuggle drugs, I think how many creative tactics are out there. I'm just thinking
we need to continue to uncover them.
You get to slip through all of these things, and I think this is a cautionary tale. Yes, we should take it as such, because it shows that human creativity in crime is we are constantly innovating. Even if we are pushing for innovation, people are constantly innovating, even in crimes, even in illegal activities, even in bad things. So we should constantly innovate how to curb some of these situations. Is very important here. Yes, but we must move to the next story.
Well, all right. The Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections held on February 21 has had the All Progressive Congress secured victories in 5 of the 6 chairmanship seats, according to results declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission. The APC won in Abaji, Kwali, Buari, Abuja Municipal Area Council, and Kuje, while the People's Democratic Party claimed the Gwagwalada seat. The elections saw varying voters turnout across the councils, with INEC officials overseeing collation and announcement on February 22nd. However, the elections faced reports of vote buying and irregularities, with civil society groups like Yaga Africa noting cash inducements of 500 naira to 10,000 naira at polling units in Amak and Gwagwalada, plus low turnout and results are tampering. The election in 2020, this is the first election we're having, although it's a local government election this year, and it shows that this is the conduct that has continued to exist with our electoral system in Nigeria. Whether or not a new electoral bill has been passed and a new reform has been made and a new bill has been assented by the federal government and signed by the president itself, we still see that a lot of activities like this will continue to befuddle the electoral system in Nigeria. Things such as vote buying, disenfranchisement, and the issue of coercion when it comes to the voting system in Nigeria. And it just said to me that if vote, and INEC has continued to say that the voting was free and fair, they did all they could with the resources that they had. That is the thing that they would say. But when you go online and you see a lot of the electoral sheets that is being used to record, and you see a lot of cancellation, the accredited voters is 213, and one political party has 2012 as part of the people that voted for them. So where did the accredited why did the accredited voters not match the same number that we've seen with the the eventual voters themselves at the end of the day. And this is the conversation that people are having, that if we continue to have these irregularities pushing forward to 2027, what do we expect from state elections? What do we expect from federal government and the presidency election when it concerning the president and also the National Assembly and the state and the House of Assembly as well? So issues around this needs to... The electoral umpire, which is INEC, needs to continue to look at what can be done to ensure that elections remain free and fair and free from this irregular. I'm trying to choose my words carefully. I almost use the word I wouldn't like. But this irregularities, because this is becoming sickening over time.
I think with all the videos on the internet, people complaining that the election was not conducted well, some people openly said that they were giving money.
They were giving money.
And some were happy to collect it, and they say if they give them money, they will collect it and they'll vote. Somebody even, there's a video circulating, and the lady say at least she will buy malt, cold, chilled malt, and she will, calm her spirits and all of those things. So it is very tempting with all of this going on, all of this report flying everywhere, to say that APC has a strong FCT grip, because the story isn't that clean with all of this that have been circulating the internet. And from my perspective, as someone as a media person watching the trends I've been seeing everywhere, there's a question of legitimacy versus optics here, because President Tinubu calls it an endorsement of his leadership, yes, or what is going on. But civil groups are coming out to say, civil society groups are coming out to say, no, we are flagging these irregularities, just like you said, especially Yaga. I think Yaga came out to say, no, we have to flag this. Even the form EC 8A that you talked about, those are supposed to line up perfectly. People are supposed to see. Those are the forms that counts, that are used to register the numbers that have been counted, perfectly with the votes that have been cast. We see that all of the forms on the internet have been showing some inconsistencies, which is not so good to see. And these are serious issues about trust of the process. If this is happening now at local level, what will happen at state level? What will happen at national level? And if people feel the elections are manipulated from now at local government levels, I think it affects participation next time. It is already recorded that there are low turnout. So where are we getting those numbers? We disencourage people to come out and vote at state level and at national level. And the low turnout too is not just about the numbers for me. I think it also signals disengagement and disillusionment. Everything is scattered. What is INEC doing with all this planning for the election, and this is what we get? So politics in the FCT is becoming very complex. And I saw a video of Wike saying they should vote and leave it to him. That is what Wike said, but we'll leave it to him, and let's continue to see what
benefits Wike and his tactics that he's been using both for the ruling party and the opposition party, where he continues to say he's a member of he has split his tent on both parties. But we're moving on to the last story we have today on what's trending. This is good news. LEGE Miami, a charismatic Nigerian influencer, actor, and the host of Singles Matching live show, where he connects hopeful romantics via energetic live stream, has successfully connected to Ibadan residents on his live program. In a captivating episode, LEGE facilitated a virtual introduction between a lady and a gentleman, sparking instant chemistry as they both exchanged shy smiles, mutual compliments, and on appearances, and engaging banter about their lives. The magic moment unfolded when the pair discovered they both hail from Ibadan, giving the two an opportunity for a real life date. While in the live program, LEGE instructed the man to hop on a motorcycle to meet with the woman. And in the end, both of them were seen embracing each other happily. Well, I chose the story because it's a wonderful event that happened in the city. And I haven't been a watcher or a follower of LEGE's show, but coming online and seeing this as part of what's trending, so interesting to see that people can actually be matchmaked and the relationship can actually work. And we've seen people come on a show. It's humorous, it's interesting, it's something that people laugh over. But I want to believe that people as well can use forums like this. If people can use forums like dating apps to find love, then why can't we use our own platforms, such as, and from a reputable person like LEGE, a social media sensation person, who has a reputation to back his show. So he has all it takes, and it's so wonderful that the two lovebirds happen to be in the same city, not far away from each other, and they have been able to connect. I think this is a moment of serendipity, because everything seems to connect at the end of the day. And this is a love story. We love love story. I wonder what your love story will be. Maybe we'll go on like
I'm thinking of contracting his services. But I think this, I like that this, first of all, this lightens up our mood, and and it's also fascinating in its own way. And you pointed that out, because everybody knows LEGE is an influencer. For those who do not know him, he's an influencer. He's very popular online. He started this singles matchmaking live show. I think there was one time people they were saying allegedly that he tried to link what's her name? What's the actress? Eniola Badmos. He was trying to find the matchmaker for her. But I think aside that, this just gives us a peek into what modern digital romance is. For people that used to, this is not a campaign for, I'm not advertising for what's the name of this show. What's Nosmira's show? What's the name? I've forgotten the name, but all of these shows are just showing us how digital romance these days is. A lot of people have met their husbands, their wives, whatnot, whatever relationship online, even friends, their best friends, people that have stood for them during the test of time. So I just feel like this is very interesting. He connected to Ibadan residents, and they were always family members on live stream.
I think this is not a strange, it's not a novel idea.
Yes,
it's just the medium with which it's been performed that has made it more interesting and exciting, and also questionable for people. Because these are people you can't vouch for their behavior. Before, you can always have your uncles, your auntie will matchmake you with somebody, and they do the background check. None of that is being done on social media like this. But I think it's interesting connection.
I think the instant chemistry.
There's something about this.
The exchange smiles, written, the exchange compliment.
And the young man walked on the motorcycle and went straight to it.
But what I find interesting as well is how this reflects changing social dynamics in Nigeria also, because dating is no longer just meeting people through friends, like you say, through families. People connect you, or you meet people in church. The very popular one is popular because they feel like you have all assurance. This person is a good person. Dating is no longer all of those things. We are seeing that what the social media space is doing, what the digital space is doing, people cannot connect instantly with people from even. It just happened that these two are from the same city. State. I've watched some where they are not from, the same state, and it tells of something very human. I've not been like following up, but I come across now and then. I think there's something also very human about this story. I've seen the excitement, the nervousness, everything very genuine on on live TV, on live social media, and it's social. It's social, it is entertaining, it's and it's a little experimental too, if I want to even put it that way, because I'm seeing how going back to the media again, how social media platforms are shaping reward interaction, and it's very good to see all of this. Let's see what, maybe I'll be the next viral love story, who knows.
I can't wait for it to be the next viral love story. Well, that's as much we can take on the program this morning. But before we go, let's look at the weather updates and see what we have. Well, that's all from the weather update, and thank you for being a part of this conversation. You can join us on all our social media platforms to share your thoughts and catch up with this segment on our YouTube channel and other broadcasting media to watch a repeat of this program. I'm Adewale Olashukwu, I've been on this. Well, we have been on this show. With
Cynthia Basi. That's how I say bye for that.
until we come your way tomorrow. Keep watching.